Hey everybody, welcome. It's Sunday, June 16th, Father's Day. Been sitting on this yoga ball, trying to get my core back in shape. Anyway, this is where I spend most of my time getting my learn on. Academia is a big part of my life now, and I love it to death. Just want to touch on that for a minute, and then I'll try to make this as concise as possible. I was having a talk with my mother yesterday. Happy Father's Day, Mom. And talking about these new neural connections and how amazing neuroplasticity is, but it comes with some side effects, and some are good and some are not so good. I'm experiencing an amazing amount of clarity, and with that comes memories that I'm remembering crystal clear from my childhood until now. And my memory's impeccable. I will admit there's still a lot of things that I don't remember from, if I was drinking or partaking in some type of mind-altering substance. So for that, I don't know. We'll see what happens. Anyway, let me try to get back on track here. She was telling me last night, hey, tomorrow, why don't you set some time aside and wish your father a happy Father's Day. And we both fell out laughing hysterically because of how ludicrous that is. And, I just needed to get some things off my chest, and I figured making a video about it in hopes that maybe he'll be watching this will help shine some light on where I'm coming from and let everybody else know where I'm coming from a mature growth mindset perspective. So I want to start out by saying some of the positive things about my father. He donated his XY Chromosome, and I remember one of my first memories is my sister being born. And I was like halfway on the bed when the midwife handed my mom that, white, nasty looking, looked like some kind of cocoon looking thing. It was my sister. But anyway, I cut the umbilical cord, and I was like halfway hanging off the bed, and my dad put his hands around my hands and helped me cut that. So as unorthodox as that is, I remember it. I remember the color of the walls. They were like a light yellow. I remember everything. It was a beautiful memory, I guess. And then I remember him taking me fishing on the Potomac River a few times. That was pretty cool. So thank you for that. Now let's talk about the negative things. And some of these things I somehow blocked out for years. But I'm just going to try to make this really quick. I'm going to run down the list, and then I'm going to let you make the decision for yourself, people. And I'm sure I'm going to piss off a lot of people for throwing them under the bus, and honestly, I don't really give a shit. That's, did it to himself, just like I've done a lot of bad things and given people a lot of reasons to, not like me. It is what it is. So let's talk about the negative things. He cheated on my mom repeatedly throughout their marriage. And he was a piece of shit. I remember another memory I had as a little kid. I was living in Boulder Creek in Santa Cruz, and he was gone all day and all night like he usually was. And that bastard came running in hot on this long driveway, and I had this tractor thing, and I had it pulled this wagon thing, and he just decided, he had this Volkswagen, he decided to run over it. And then he gets out, all tanked up on booze, and he's like, "Oh, River, I told you to not leave your toys in the driveway." True, but I think I was probably 3 years old, so fuck you for that, Dad. Just had to get that off my chest. Been holding on to that. Anyway, he left 4 boys and a little girl, so my 3 older brothers, all alone with no phone and no car while he was gone all day. And my mom warned him, hey, I can't handle this. This is, this is out of control. So I remember we went to the neighbors, the Watsons, up in Santa Cruz at Boulder Creek. And my mom's like, hey, can you watch my three older brothers? And she called my grandmother, rest in peace. And as soon as my grandmother answered, before my mom could even tell her what was going on and the stress because she wanted to leave my dad, my grandma was like, hey, I'm going to get you some tickets. You don't even need to tell me. And I'm pretty sure that was my grandmother's way of saying, fuck that Puto. Because, fuck that Puto. Then fast forward, I'm at like some family reunion in San Jose, California at my grandparents' house, Minnie and Marty Martinez. Having a great time. I was like 5 at the time. And somehow my Uncle Richard, my dad, my grandpa, I don't know, they like rounded up all the boys. I'm talking, I don't know, I remember my cousin like Armando being there. Anyway, there's like all these like little boys in the garage, and my Uncle Richard comes in with this bag, like a burlap sack or pillowcase or something, the goddamn pound cat in it. My grandpa comes and it was like, hey, did you get it? And I just remember my dad's like pointing at me like, hey, if you want to be grandpa's favorite, you're going to have to get this cat and bring it to him. And it was so weird. And I remember, now I know where the term, who let the cat out of the bag. And I remember my Uncle Richard saying, oh, I was down at the pound. My guy said that he's got the meanest feral alley cat he's ever seen. And he lets this thing out, and this thing comes out hissing and scratching and spraying piss everywhere and that smell. And he ran up inside the engine compartment of my Grandpa Martin's truck. And I think it was my cousin Armando went up there to grab it, and the thing clawed him and gouged him, and he comes out crying. And I was like, hey, I wanted to be on, Grandpa Marty's favorite. So I went in there, I grabbed that cat, and I didn't let go, and he's gouging me up and scratching me. And I brought it to my grandpa, and it was like the best feeling. But I look back on that, and I'm like, what kind of sick, cruel, sadistic shit is that? And then I also remember my dad, he was like the lookout bitch. He was like peeping around the corner between this like patio and inside the house, making sure the women didn't come see this goddamn right out child abuse taking place. So anyway, I don't know how I blocked that out for decades, but that shit surfaced, and I'm sure whoever else, one of my cousins was there, they can attest to that as well. So fuck you, Puto. Then, let's talk about my dad never paid child support. Piece of shit. I think I was talking to my mom yesterday. I think there was a total he paid us, gave my mom, helped out like maybe $700, and that's being generous. And the whole 18 years me and my sister were kids. So fuck that, Puto. You're a piece of shit. Straight up. These are the facts. And then I was like 12. I was living in Virginia, and I was a bad kid. I'll admit. But somehow I did something really bad. I tried to steal this kid's moped. He was hanging out at the park, and they found out where I lived. His parents and him came to confront me about it. My dad was there, and they, my stepmom and my dad were like, go get the moped. I got the moped. I had it stashed out in the woods. This is in Virginia. I bring it back, and my dad's yelling at me, and he's like threatening to, kick my ass, and I called his ass out. He's like telling me he's going to send me back to Vegas. I was a horrible son and this and that. And I remember his ass huffing and puffing coming down this hallway, and I looked, it was a natural reaction. I picked up this hammer, I threw it at his head as hard as I could, and his little skinny ass dodged it and put a hole in the wall. I was 12 years old, but I saw the fear in that guy's ass. He was a bitch, and he's still a bitch. So fuck that Puto. You know, and he sent me on a plane. I think the next day I went back to Vegas to live with my mom. Happy Father's Day again, Mom, for putting up with my shit. Because that fucking Puto couldn't do a goddamn thing because he's a little bitch. Anyway, he cheated on my mom, no child support, you know. And then comes my grandmother Minnie, she dies. And I was doing my thing in San Diego. I get this certified letter from some attorney about some inheritance and all this money and this and that. And you know what? That Puto squandered away all the money. He went MIA. I mean, God, the dude was just a dirtbag. And if that wasn't bad enough, I tried to take the higher road and extend the olive branch. And I know I had his right number, and I called him. Some years had passed. This was back in 2007 when that happened. And I extended the olive branch, and I said, hey, Dad, listen, straight up, forget how much of a dirtbag you are, and forget how much money you stole from me and my family. I want to squash the beef because I'm worried the next time I see you is going to be in a casket. Or you're going to be dead. Because let's be honest, the way things are going, I don't think anybody on the planet is going to pay for you to have a proper burial. And I know your ass is too dumb to put some of that money aside to pay for a proper burial for you. So anyway, I tried to extend, the olive branch, and I called him and I gave him a heartfelt message and said, let's squash this beef, probably 3 or 4 times, and he never responded. So I tried. So this is one last ditch effort I'm throwing out there to the universe. Let's squash this beef. It's fucking Father's Day. I'm not going to tell you Happy Father's Day because I think you're a fucking Puto. And fuck that Puto. But I will say you're a piece of shit. And you're a piece of shit. That's why you're hiding. I don't know where the hell you're hiding. And then I also heard when when you had all that money, you went and visited my sister, got this houseboat, tried to ball out of control, and then you were hitting on my sister's friend, and you had some weird dude with you, like their little suspect activity. You might be a closet homosexual. I'm not being a homophobe. I don't care. Happy Pride Month, everybody. Anyway, I'm just throwing it all out, though. These are all facts. And that's all there is to it. And don't think that, and that you've obviously got to be such a piece of shit that my brother Marty changed his last name from Martinez to Murphy to his mother's maiden name. God knows you were a piece of shit to her, too, so fuck you, Puto, for that, too. And I thought about changing my last name, but you know what? I already got it tattooed really big in Old English on my back, so a little too late for that. And I'm proud of my last name. Que pasa la raza, viva Martinez. But I will say, don't think I'm not looking at the positive. You definitely inadvertently showed me an immense amount of resiliency, so thank you for that. And I want to end this on a positive note. And I want to say Happy Father's Day to all the dads out there that are paying their child support, out there doing their things for their kids. And I know, sometimes those mothers can be a little difficult, and they put a wedge between you and the kid. Don't let them stop you from reaching out and saying hello on their birthday and Christmas, and just those 2 little things, That's all you got to do. Don't be a piece of shit and get some message like this, fucked up message I'm sending you, Dad, you piece of fucking shit, fuck you, Puto, and get some message later from one of your kids, and then you die with some resentment. And for all I know, you're dead right now, and to be quite honest, I don't really care. I just need to do this for me. If you're not, and you are watching this, I want to let you know, it's not too late. We can squash this beef right now, but I also know it's going to come with some stipulations. In the event that you're in a wheelchair right now or something, I'll probably just give you a nice gut check, knock the wind out of you a little bit, probably shit yourself. If you can still stand, you old piece of shit, I'll give you a nice little chin check to the old switch, maybe the orbital socket. I don't know, but I think it's definitely necessary and warranted. And if you're already in the grave and someone did pay for you to get a proper burial and you got some headstone out there or something, just know that before I go visit that, I'm going to eat a big bowl of menudo. I'm going to drink a pot of coffee. And then I'm going to probably drink about 8 tablespoons of psyllium fiber husk before I go visit that. And you could do the math on that. So I want everyone right now to look in the mirror, and after the information that I have given you, if you can honestly tell yourself and not say, fuck that Puto, man, you got some fucking issues. Or you're the Dalai Lama, one of the two, I don't know. And if you try to convince my mind, convince myself otherwise, the only response you're gonna get to me is fuck that Puto. And this has been brought to you by Fuck That Puto. Hey, happy Father's Day to all those real dads out there. And remember, it's not too late to reach out and turn a bad thing into something positive. And I got nothing but love and endless adoration for all of you. So, on that note, love ya. This message was brought to you by the partnership between the Coalition Against Deadbeat Dads and Fuck That Puto.